There's been a rumor circulating online over the past few days that Anthony Joshua has failed a PED test. I haven't been able to find any evidence to substantiate this claim. It appears to be pure speculation based on the fact he recently said he ain't gonna fight again until December. Well, let me add some fuel to that speculation. AJ has been hanging out in Dubai with Amir Khan, who's currently serving a 2-year ban for PEDs. AJ and Khan weren't on good terms ever since that Twitter spat they had a few years ago when Khan accused his own wife of having an affair with AJ. Now, that all got squashed, apparently. I think AJ might have even threatened legal action. But still, Khan hasn't been especially complimentary of Anthony Joshua since then. So to see them all of a sudden hanging out with each other right after Khan got popped for PEDs, can we read something into this? Is AJ trying to align himself with someone who's going through the same thing so he won't be alone when the story comes out? If we see him hanging out with Conor Benn next, then it's case closed, right? All jokes aside, as I understand it, when a fighter tests positive with UCAD, they're often given two options. They can either accept an immediate suspension, then when the investigation is concluded, if they're guilty, the ban gets backdated, or they can reject the suspension and continue to fight, but if they're found guilty, the ban will start from that day, so it won't be backdated. If AJ has tested positive, if he chose the first option, presumably the Franklin fight wouldn't have been allowed to happen because he'd have been suspended. And if he chose the second option, since he says he's fighting in December, that would mean he's been given an extremely short ban of just 8 months. Now, I do know of bans that short in America, and even shorter in some cases, but I've personally never heard of a ban that short in the UK. The most common ban in Britain is 2 years. It can be up to 4 years, but 2 years is most common. Dillian Whyte got a 2-year ban back in the day. Amir Khan just got 2 years, and so on. With that being said, I guess it's possible AJ intends to fight in the Middle East, in which case a ban in Britain may not apply. Now, there's long been speculation about AJ juicing because of his build and the amount of lean muscle he's gained since turning pro. He's also been publicly accused of having a therapeutic usage exemption, a TUE, for testosterone. And while TUEs aren't illegal because they're allegedly granted by the British board, a lot of people aren't in favor of them. They see it as legalized juicing. It's never been proven that AJ actually has a TUE, but he's never satisfactorily denied it either, to my knowledge. Now, let me be clear. I am not accusing AJ of ever having a TUE. Let's be categorical about that. But what I will do is give you a hypothetical scenario. Testosterone is a hormone which not only benefits you physically, but also mentally. Increased levels of it can make you feel happier and more confident. In the run-up to AJ's first fight with Andy Ruiz, he was accused by Dillian Whyte and Jarrell Miller of having a TUE for testosterone. So, hypothetically speaking, what if the controversy caused by those allegations led to the British board revoking the TUE, perhaps after receiving complaints from other fighters and promoters? What if the subsequent drop in testosterone levels negatively affected AJ's confidence? What if that was the reason he looked so nervous before that first Andy Ruiz fight? What if it was also the reason for the dramatic weight loss after that fight? What if, after the second loss to Usyk, he decided to train abroad and start taking testosterone again, knowing he was outside the jurisdiction of the British board? What if that was the reason he put all this muscle back on for the Franklin fight? All of this is pure speculation. Again, I am not accusing Anthony Joshua of anything. I'm just hypothesizing here. And to counter this hypothesis, AJ's confidence looked completely shot against Jermaine Franklin, which doesn't support the idea that he was on testosterone. So who knows if any of this is true, but if it did turn out to be true, it would most likely signal the end for not only Anthony Joshua, but perhaps Eddie Hearn as well. What if this was the British Boxing Board of Control's way of getting back at Eddie Hearn over the Conor Benn situation? Again, I'm just asking questions here. I'm not saying any of this is true. I'm just doing what a police officer does when investigating a case, entertaining different scenarios. And as the evidence comes in, you see which scenario is in greatest accord with that evidence. In some cases, the evidence doesn't accord with any of the scenarios. Anyway, Perhaps AJ hasn't failed any test, and there's some perfectly innocent explanation for him apparently not fighting again until December. Maybe it's because of difficulty finding the right opponent, or maybe it's due to this rumored heavyweight tournament in Saudi Arabia that's meant to be happening in December. All I can say is the longer Eddie Hearn and Frank Smith go without being interviewed, the more the speculation is going to grow. And when they do finally talk to the media, they need to categorically deny that AJ has failed any test or is serving any suspension. If not, then you cannot blame the public for thinking the worst. Are you sick and tired of the mainstream mindset? Does the dogmatic conformity and pathological ignorance have you tearing your hair out in frustration? Then don't be alone. Come and join our brotherhood on Patreon. We stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. You'll gain access to my weekly topical podcast where we take more deep dives than Jacques Cousteau on an endless variety of subjects. There's also videos, interviews, live Q&As, as well as a vast back catalogue of previous episodes, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen via the Patreon app or download in high-quality MP3. Connect with myself and hundreds of other members in our Element chat group. There's no contract, no commitment, you can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a Mickey D's McMuffin. Just head to my Patreon page via the link below this video and select the tier called the Brotherhood of Reason. I'll see you over there. Oh yeah, we out here. We out here, bro. Don't get swept off your feet.